This country is called the heart of Eurasia. It has brought together the culture and traditions of more than 100 nations. Today, Kazakhstan is a dynamically developing young state. The interests of major international organizations are concentrated precisely here. They adapt world practices and introduce global initiatives. Such large-scale cooperation has already shown the results. You'll find more on this in Kazakhstan International Vectors.
Saddle and bridle, steel and a yurt, a bow and a sword, and even typography, irrigation and cattle breeding, the tax system, military tactics and strategy, diplomacy and monetary circulation. All this was once invented by ancient Turks, and almost all of these inventions are popular now among the mankind. History of the Turks began in the 5th century during the time of Kaganates. 100 years later, the Turkic world has become a bridge between East and West, and two great civilizations have enriched their technologies. The interest towards historical and cultural heritage with more power is manifested in the turning points of history, experts say. Society tries to rethink the past in order to build a new future. Our time is no exception, especially a milestone of 20th and 21st centuries. National heritage receives a new assessment of historians. Preservation of cultural values becomes one of the main priorities of the cultural policy of many Turkic-speaking countries. The 2 days globalization goes by leaps and bounds, so we, being the Turks of the Central Asia from 4 quite big countries, are forced to search for our roots somewhere deep in history. We are looking at countries and regions like Siberia, Sayan-Altai region or Balkan region. Turkic achievements in all areas of culture and development of civilization are significant. They made a very important contribution to the spiritual and material culture of the world. Today, historians, politicians and public figures talk about the importance of the program on preservation of the heritage of Turkic ethnic groups. Turkic culture, Turkic values that have been preserved in an isolated state, we take and multiply, update and search for anything unrevealed till now. Culture is situated far from politics, far from any economic disputes. That is why culture has no boundaries and usually plays the fundamental role in the unification of nations. Reviving the Turkic spirituality, Turkic identity is necessary to consider the diversity of identity of each of the Turkic people. Culture, traditions and beliefs are similar, and nevertheless each nation has its own language, its own values. Unification in the sphere of culture doesn't mean the unification into one nation. Neither national nor cultural identification won't suffer in this case. Every nation, by keeping its values, can exchange the experience on international level. Apart from that, different cultures can use the experience of each other in personal development, I suppose. The debate about how long actually the people with the Turkic roots live on Earth has been going on for many years. Someone put the figure of 80 million people, others are talking about 400 million. Descendants of Turks mingled with the local population and spread all over the world. Today, the Turkic-speaking people live in Eurasia, North America, Australia and the territories of Europe, Central Asia, the Caucasus and the Mediterranean. Many public figures believe that the spiritual unification of Turkic people will give a better opportunity to share experiences. Thanks to this, cooperation between the countries will only flourish. Kazakhs, Turks, Kyrgyz, Uyghurs, many Muslim states are united by the single culture. In the European countries and within the European nations, many other spheres are quite developed. For example, technologies. In this regard, we can learn from them. We can take their experience and adopt it for our reality. I mean, here we are talking not only about the Turkic cooperation. The idea of cooperation of Turkic states was realized in November 2008, when an agreement was signed for the establishment of the Parliamentary Assembly of Turkic-speaking countries, TurkPA. Culture, history and language, these and many other things interconnect many states. The restoration of the cultural identity is an issue for today. According to the scientist Sagadi Bulikbayev, Kazakhstan also pays great attention to this. After gaining of the independence, many states unite in international organizations. Turkic countries are no exclusion. In 2010, in Baku, presidents of Turkic states have decided upon the annual conclusion of problems which appear in regard to culture, language or religion. And also they've decided to discuss the aspects, the problems connected to Turkic people or Turkic culture. The main objective of the Parliamentary Assembly of Turkic-speaking countries, TurkPA, is the convergence of political views, promotion of Turkic culture, widening the economic ties and implementation of joint projects among the participating countries. The organization includes Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan and Turkey. The secretariat is located in Baku. Many years, Sagadi Bulikbayev has devoted to the study of Turkic culture and history. Today his research works are collected in one monograph, which will be released the next year. I give lections in different classes and for different people, be them students or other professors, bachelors or masters. And when sometimes I start to talk about Turkic culture, their civilization and historical achievements, I see how the eyes of my listeners shine. I see a true interest in their faces, and they say that they learn many new things thanks to the information I present. They really make shocking discoveries for themselves. For just 6 years of existence, TurkPA has passed a long way of development and has implemented many projects. Member countries of the Assembly are holding international conferences on important public issues. They also observe the parliamentary elections and share their experience in governance. TurkPA cooperates actively with the Turkish Council and also actively interacts with the higher institutions of many countries, such as, for example, the European Parliament. There are also many structures within the organization which work is directed towards the rights protection and legislative drafting. By implementing such work with other international associations, TurkPA strives to solve many governmental issues. The interests of TurkPA include not only political structure of the country. The assembly members are seeking for the ways to integrate with the community of the Turkic world and Turkic culture, history and traditions. Of course, countries' representatives discuss, for example, how to create a common educational zone. In the framework of this project, they are talking about how to implement the students' exchange, what educational resources to provide on history and culture of Turkic states. They also want someday to introduce the common terminological base on Turkic words and languages. Thanks to TurkPA, many projects were carried out. In particular, in 2010, in Kazakhstan, the Turkic Academy was opened. Today, this institution is recognized as one of the leading research centers in the whole world. In the sphere of education, we have already mentioned that the program Mavlyana exists between Turkey and Kazakhstan, between Turkey and Kyrgyzstan, and also between Turkey and Azerbaijan. And here Turkey plays a role of a flagmanship in that direction, and financing goes mostly from Turkey. This allows many students from different Central Asian countries to study in Turkish institutes free of charge. In the conditions of globalization, the unification of Turkic countries is inevitably necessary. Today, Central Asia is the intersection where cultures, economies and politics of many Turkic countries meet, experts say. During the years of its active work, TurkPA has built a reputation of an effective and meaningful international association. On the basis of the Assembly, a number of important conferences and meetings have been held. Today, TurkPA closely cooperates with 155 international organizations and occupies a leading position in the world arena. Thanks to the decisions taken at the meetings of the Assembly, the academicians of the participating countries are able to actively cooperate with each other, share experiences and conduct joint researches. The exchange program of students and school children of the Turkic countries has already been planned and developed.